Welcome back to Normal. So in this video, I'm going to share with you my NCAA Women's Basketball Division 1 predictions for all IMAC qualifiers. Who's getting the IMAC qualifier? You know, the IMAC qualifiers, when you win your conference tournament, you're not getting the NCAAs. And then the other 36 teams in the basketball tournament are selected at large by the committee based on like strength of schedule, you know, and based on like your ability to like win those tough games, stuff like that, and like injuries play a factor. You know, if you're better with, you know, people play tough without this key player, but then you play like tough with this player, without this player, but then you won games with this player. You know, you can prove this player puts you over the top. You know, this and that, like different little factors like that. You can turn the at-large bids, or if someone gets upset in our conference tournament, like a big favorite, say someone that's in like a smaller conference, like FGCU, say they get upset in the conference tournament, they're going to be put in as an at-large, most likely, you know, but we'll see. That's the magic of the committee, for to say not ours. And you know, there's subs, there's not subs, but I'm just gonna take my thoughts on it. So West Coast Conference. So BYU, I think BYU has the best shot to win. Why? Well, because they challenge themselves like Oklahoma, Utah, Florida State, West Virginia, Arizona State. They had tough marquee matchups on the road. They played a ton on the road. They played like tough, hard, physical. They only came away with one loss. That's right, one loss. That shows you something. I believe it was either Utah or it was Oklahoma. I think it was Oklahoma though. I believe. Though I can't remember. I believe it was Oklahoma though. Came with one loss too. And it was just tough, physical, gritty, back and forth battle. Maybe it was Utah, I don't know. I don't remember, but so they played tough, gritty, physical basketball. And it came down to the wire in that one. They almost had a perfect slate. But BYU is by Charlie Creen's bracketology, because he's the one that does the predictions for ESPN, since they're the ones who show the tournament. Because the men say they have people from CBS Sports do it, Fox, ESPN do it. All those big people predict the fields in the men's side. But the women's side, you just don't really have many. Besides like the people on the smaller reporters coordinate. And maybe like this big Charlie Creen guy for ESPN. That's about it. And I think BYU really deserves a top 4. Like he's predicting that, and I could definitely see that. But the only problem is they might not put them at like a 1 right now, or a 2, or a 3. But I think what BYU needs to do is just do their assignment. What I mean by do an assignment is basically they need to keep blowing out teams like LMU, Pepperdine, Pacific, beat them by like 30, 40 points like they've been doing. And then the tough teams, like maybe a San Francisco, they could possibly beat by 20, 30. And maybe Portland, they can beat by 20, 30. I don't know. Though we'll see. Because Portland's record's actually pretty decent, but their conference record's kind of deceiving. Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see though. But I know San Diego, they play like by like 10, 15 points, and that helped them. It helped their like strength of schedule up. Like they could still like be a good team, like 10, 15 on the road in conference play. But you know, they're gonna play the rematch on Monday, tomorrow, in Provo, and they're San Diego's expecting that their players back from injury, fully ready, and maybe give a few some spark off the bench or something like that, or a starter role or something like that to beat BYU. So we'll see. That's kind of interesting, especially since they just play each other. Maybe BYU has their number figured out. Maybe it's just a curveball that they're gonna throw at them, you know, and then maybe they can beat BYU, you know. But BYU needs to just beat everyone, and I think they need to beat Gonzaga, especially if they beat Gonzaga in the regular season. I think they secured up a number 4 speed. They need to pretty much just win out in the conference, I think, to be the number 4. But they also need to just play assignment-focused basketball. Like, do their roles and just beat teams by like 30, 40 if they can. And just put the score up as high as they can on these teams. And then, with their start, some of these teams, they have their like backups in. And they don't get off playing time, and they're still up by like 30, 40 points. Like, that just shows you the level that they have, the depth that they have on their team, where they get Paisley out for 5-10 minutes, like a good chunk of time. Sheely out for a good chunk of time, Tegan out, Maria out for a good chunk of time, and they're still playing like top notch, like they could play without them the whole game. Some of these games, and they're still like, like a good chunk of time against these teams, and they're still up by like 20, 30 points, like, and they're like scoring like playing like nothing ever happened, like they're injured or something like that. Player did, and it's like, wow, like they're on fire, But the only problem was against San Diego is that their offense was kind of struggling in the first quarter. Both offenses were, but they took the offense. They didn't focus on their offense. They focused on their defense, and that helped them turn into offense. Their defense turned into their offense because it stopped San Diego from scoring. And then they took takeaways, and that they got points after turnovers. That really helped too. So I just really love this BYU team. I think they can go pretty far. I don't think they can win it all, obviously. I don't think so. But they're a dark horse. I think they're a dark horse to win the like a mid-major team that could surprise a lot of people. Be like Missouri State last year. Go to Sweet 16. I really think so. Last year they were like pretty close to winning the Sweet. They were one round of 64 game against Rutgers. Then they lost around a 32 game to them. I believe it was Arizona. And they had a shot in that round of 32 game. They really close. It was really close too. I think this year, if they can win, they can coast at home. And they might. Right now, they're a tough 4. I think the last time I checked the brackets, they had to play like Notre Dame, I believe, which is the 5 in the second round. Which, whew, that's huge. That's a huge game right there. Notre Dame. If they play them, whew, I would expect a ton of just whew in that game. That's just a tough game right there if they have to play Notre Dame. Whew. And then Gonzaga. I think Gonzaga could win the West Coast Conference, but I think it's going to depend on how they play versus BYU. That's what I think. And then if the games against BYU get rescheduled or not. I just think BYU needs to play. Just BYU needs to play as focused as they can. You know what? Just focus on their opponent and not get too ahead of themselves. Well, Gonzaga needs to do the same thing. They just need to basically play versus BYU and beat BYU. I think then they got a shot. But I'm interested to see how maybe a game against maybe Santa Clara or St. Mary's. Maybe for BYU. Maybe that might be kind of tough. I think that, but it might be one of those where it's like San Diego where they play 10-15 point. When they beat by 10-15. Like 15, say on the road, and then maybe at home, say 20. 15-20 on the road home. And then maybe some of these bottom teams, they could be like 30-40 easily on the road and at home. And then I just think it's going to come down to the rematch tomorrow at San Diego with the players back healthy for BYU and Gonzaga. They can just beat out these teams. It's going to be kind of interesting if they're on ton of run, undefeated in conference, up to I think the first matchup is in February, I believe, between those two. So it'll be interesting to see, these postponed rematch games against these teams. I hope BYU has a couple of them. So that'll be interesting to see, what happens, So curious to see, but how they're, obviously the players want to play, and if they play 2-3 games a week, that's it. That'd be super hard, but it's just gonna be like, it's just gonna be light work, light work, so, because the players want to play, they don't want to practice. They just want to play game, have like maybe like a practice or two before the game, and then just go out and play, that's what they like, and that's what these 2-3 games a week do, playing 3 games a week. Say they play Monday, they might have a practice on say Tuesday or Wednesday for practices, and they play the next game, and then same with Friday. They for practice say Friday, maybe get paired. They play on Saturday. It's like, that's what they like, And I don't blame them, And then, I think it's just going to know who wins the conference tournament. BYU wins that, because they do a thing where like for example right now, maybe USC, San Diego, and LMU, and the Pacific Pepperdine in the first round, 7-10 versus 8-9. Then San Francisco, Portland get by the second round, so 5 and 6 we get by the second round. Then Santa Clara and St. Mary's we get by the quarterfinals. BYU and Gonzaga we get by the semis. As 1-2. Sunday 5, 6, say 5 would get winner of 7-10, and 8-9, or 8-9 would get 5, and then 7-10 would get 6, and then 3-4 would be 4 would get 5, and then 3 would get 6, and then 1 would get 4, and 2 would get 3. That's what happened last year. BYU and Gonzaga won. Played against each other, and Gonzaga won. So I think it just goes down to who's going to get the 1 and 2 is who's going to win the matchups against each other in the regular season, and who's going to win the conference tournament. I think if one team, if say BYU can win 2 out of 3, win the conference tournament one, and win one regular season game at home, that'd be pretty solid too. But if they can win all 3, that just, that'd be sweet. But they had a shot to win last year, but it was just like a few seconds, like at the end. So that kind of it's like right at the end they lost. So it's like back and forth to the end. And then in the WAC, California Baptist is first. Stephen F. Austin is second, and Grand Canyon's third. And then there's some teams like Turtleton, who 12 and who are 8-3 coming in, and 8-3 for Abilene Christian. Another 12-7, so it's good to see. But I think it's going to be who's going to win there. I don't know what tournament's like, but the WAC I think is like. There's 13 teams, so I think the WAC what's going to be is just going to California Baptist, Stephen F. Austin, Grand Canyon. I think one of those 3 teams is going to make the tournament. I think it's all going to be on like California Baptist who plays who, the best out of those 3 who can squeak by with some wins against those teams. And then as obviously one team may have to match up say versus both of them. In like 2 or 3 top teams in the conference tournament, and one might have the matchup against the team that's the 4th seed, and then the team that's 2 and 3, so it might be a tougher road to one team, but but you never know, so we'll see on that. But yeah, we're only 37 days away from conference tournaments. It's not very long till the first conference tournaments start March 1st, and then we have a couple in the end of the week, Sunday. Saturday, and most of the teams, their conference tournament games, or play their final regular games. Some will play like Tuesday, Wednesday games. Then some will play, most teams will probably play like Thursday game. They have a Thursday game to play in playing Saturday, so I'm kind of interested to see it. So yeah.